Hey everybody, Live Farmer 73 here. I want to talk about a survival garden. I know it's not going to be something that everybody wants to talk about, but it's something that we really should be talking about. With everything going on right now, I want to talk about some of the trees. We're just going to start with fruit trees that you should be planting yesterday. This is going to give you a lot of food in a small space. So let's get right to it. Number one, I think for a survival garden, everybody should plant some kind of nut tree. You should plant pecans, number one on my list. You should plant almonds, walnuts, macadamia, hazelnuts, and anything in between. I know everybody is going to say this, black walnuts. If you have space for a black walnut tree, go ahead and do it. But research and studies have seen that black walnut trees, their root system, they make the soil toxic. So you can't plant anything else around a black walnut tree. Go ahead and do your research and put whatever you know in the comment section below. Prove me wrong, because everything I'm reading is stating if you plant a black walnut tree, you're not going to plant anything else pretty much in that whole space or yard. All right, number two, apples. I don't care what kind of apple you plant. You can never go wrong with planting one or more apple trees. And this is why. Because on one apple tree, you will have way more apples than you could ever eat. Number two, they're fast producing. They grow super fast. You'll be eating apples probably in the first to third year. So they're going to produce a lot. They're going to produce quick. And the more mature that apple tree gets, you'll have food to store, to eat, to sell, to preserve, to do whatever you want. Here's the other thing about apples. You can turn apple juice into anything. You can turn apple juice into vinegar, which is medicinal. You can turn apple juice into cider, that's great for drinking. You can turn apple juice into beer. You can turn apple juice into alcohol. All of these things are also medicinal if used correctly. Apples are the staple. If you do not have an apple in your yard or on your land, you need to put apples there. That's an important one for me, okay? I could go on and on with apples. Oh, cooking fresh pies and tarts and everything like that. Apples can be stored great. They can make anything, they're just not turned into just juice. Great for eating right off the tree. Like I said, don't get me going, because with an apple tree, you can do anything. All right, let's keep it going, all right? Figs. Plant a fig tree in your survival garden. This is why. Because in a small space, you'll eat tons of fruit all season long if you pick the right fig tree for your area. Figs produce and produce and produce all year, depending. I've been eating off the 2 fig trees that I have ever since spring. Literally, the Chicago Hardy fig and the LSU Gold. The LSU Gold has just finished up, but I am still to this very day, and this is, the end of August. I'm still eating Chicago Hardy figs to this very day. Every day we come out, a couple more is ripe. So you cannot go wrong with fig trees. Plant a fig tree in your survival garden. Let's keep it going. Okay. Oh my good. Hot. This should have been, I don't know if this should have been number one or what. Peaches. Peaches. Plant peaches in your survival garden, because on one small peach tree, it will give you more fruit than you can eat. And just like the apples, you can do exactly the same amount of things with the peaches. The peaches you can pull off the tree and eat fresh, and you can preserve them. You can turn them into jams and jellies, but you can also turn them into wine and other things of that nature. Peaches are plentiful. They don't take a whole bunch of know how to grow them, and it ain't too many things that want to destroy peach trees. They have their problems, but pretty much they can take care of themselves pretty much, okay? You got to keep an eye on them, but for the most part, you don't have to be a scientist to know how to take care of a peach tree. After the peaches, apricots. Apricots fall in that same category because you take care of an apricot pretty much just the same way you take care of a peach. Super small, compact tree, plentiful, tons of fruit, and you can do the exact same stuff you can with that. I really love dry apricots. So that's a lot of vitamins and minerals in these fruits that I'm giving you right now, okay? It's just not just for eating. This is for your health, I'm gonna say, okay? Because I can't say nothing else on this platform. All right, now one of the greatest trees that you need to plant on your land, no matter what, whether it's in a container or not, mulberry tree. If you plant a mulberry tree, you will have enough berries in the first 2 years that you, your family, the birds, the squirrels, and everything else that can climb that tree can eat. If you plant a mulberry tree, you're going to eat for months. I will say this, try to find an ever-bearing mulberry tree because it fruits all season. If you have a long season, it will never stop fruiting. So try to find an ever-bearing mulberry tree. That's the most fruit that you can get in a small space. And when I say small space, I'm saying all these trees grow straight up. So that's food going up. You're not taking square footage away from yourself. Here's another thing about all of the trees that I'm telling you. All of the trees that I'm talking about today, you can duplicate them very easily. A mulberry cutting, you can cut that branch, stick it in the ground, and literally have a tree next year. It is that simple, okay? We're gonna keep going. A jujube tree. Plant a jujube tree. Give it 2 years tops, and you'll have more fruit than you can possibly eat. I planted a jujube, and there is nothing I have done to it. I haven't fed it. I haven't watered it. I've never done anything. And that thing is loaded with fruit, just draping with fruit. That's incredible. You got to plant a jujube tree. If you don't know what a jujube is, please do more research and go look into a jujube tree, and you will be surprised. The two I have is the Lee and the Lang, and they kind of taste like medjool dates, but they have 2 stages. When they turn all brown, they look just like a medjool date, but they're dry and spongy on the inside. The texture is different. When they're in the green state with a little brown on it, they're super sweet, just like an apple. They look like little apples, but they have a dry texture to them. Sweet as an apple, but with this dry, different kind of texture. It's not off-putting, but as soon as you bite into it, the first thing you're going to think is it's not ripe yet. Give it a second and let it marinate in your mouth and watch all the sugars come out of it, and then start chewing it, and you will see what I mean. Plant a jujube. Okay. Citrus. You cannot have enough citrus. If you can grow citrus in the ground in your area, please do it. If you cannot grow citrus in the ground, please grow your citrus in containers. Like back here, grow your citrus in containers, and it is worth bringing them in and out every season. When winter hits, bring them in the house. When summer hits, bring them back outside. It's worth it. Will you get a lot of fruit in a container citrus? Absolutely. I've been proving it for years. Container citrus will give you tons of fruit. It's not going to give you tons of fruit like if it was planted in the ground, but again, that's also depending on what size container you have in. It will feed you and your family in a container. Get that citrus for that nutrients. You're going to need those, okay? We're talking about oranges, satsuma oranges, lemons, limes, tangerines, grapefruits, pomelos. Trust me, get them. All the citrus you see in back of me now is in containers. I have citrus in the front of my house, but most of it right now is in containers. Trust me, Even if you have citrus in the ground, keep some in containers too, just in case your weather gets a little weird and takes out everything you have in the ground. You still got your container babies for you, okay? Trust me and believe me on that. Okay, here we go. Blackberries. If you have the space, grow blackberries in the ground. Let them spread far and wide, and you will never run out of fruit, probably for the rest of your life. And I'm not kidding around with that. Grow blackberries, any kind you want. Blackberries, they spread. So if you don't want them spreading in your yard because you're limited to space, you can grow them in a 5-gallon bucket. I showed them in a video earlier this spring. I got them growing in 2 5-gallon buckets, and they put out more fruit than we can eat. I wouldn't have believed it myself if I didn't see it with my own eyes. It puts out more fruit than you know what to do with, and just putting one little blackberry plant in a 5-gallon bucket. I can't make this up. Try it and you will see that I'm telling you the truth. Plant a blackberry. Same thing, plant raspberries. Raspberries in my area are a little bit more finicky. It took them a while to really start producing. I'm going to say it took about 3 or 4 years for them raspberries to really kick in the juice. So plant raspberries, but depending on your area, be prepared to wait a little bit. If you're in a colder, cooler climate, your raspberries should take right off. But I'm down here in zone 8A, 8B, 9A-ish, and the raspberries really don't seem to care for that temperature at all, okay? So raspberries, blackberries. Now the blackberries, back to the blackberries. The blackberries take off immediately. You will be eating fruit in a 1-gallon container. I can't make this up. You're going to be eating in a 1-gallon container. Blackberries take off. They could be about 5 inches tall in their fruiting. No kidding. So if you can find an ever-bearing blackberry, oh, you're going to be eating good. Okay. Next in our survival garden, we talked about mulberries. Grapes. If you have the space to run a grapevine, I suggest you do it, because with a grapevine, grapes put out tons of fruit in a super small space. You probably thinking, lead, it's going to take a lot more space to grow grapes. No, it does not. I proved years ago, you do not have to plant your grapevine in the ground. You do not necessarily have to run an in-ground grape trellis across your yard. No, that's what farmers do. And I just did a video saying farmers, homesteaders, and backyard gardeners are completely different. If you're a farmer, go ahead and you got the space to run that long grape yard, the vineyard. But if you're a backyard gardener or a homesteader, you can grow this however you want. Years ago, I showed everybody, I put a grapevine, several grapevines actually, in a 17-gallon laundry tub, and I put chicken wire around the tub and grew tons of grapes off of that. You can do it. I did it. I proved it. I showed it to you years ago. And believe it or not, I sold those pots of grapes. Now I regret it. I shouldn't have done that because, oh my goodness. Anyway, you can grow grapes because they keep producing tons of grape with the least amount of energy. That's what this is all about. Survival garden. Smaller spaces, least amount of energy, giving you the biggest crop or harvest that you could possibly get. If you can yield more than the energy that you put in, that's helping you with your survival garden. Now with this, we're talking about pears. Don't get me started. All right. If you can plant a pear tree, I'm going to personally talk about my most indestructible tank of a tree, and I think that's what I'm going to name it. Tank. The Orient pear tree. If you're going to plant pears, it doesn't matter what variety of pear you grow, but if you want a pear tree that disease doesn't touch it, Animals really don't bother with it. I don't know what it is about this tree, but this tree, this pear, is flawless. It may be one of the only other flawless trees that I have. I'm gonna talk about flawless trees in a minute. Plant a pear tree on your land, because in a small footprint, you're going to get more fruit than you know what to do with. I'm talking about canning, preserving, fresh, selling it to make income. You will have more food than you know what to do with in just about 3 years. Okay? If you talking about 5 years, you won't know what to do with that much fruit. Okay? Now we're gonna come on down. Oh, did we clear it all out? I think we cleared out our list, family. Okay. Oh, I left out one of the most important ones. Asian persimmons. You know what? Asian and American native persimmons. The native persimmons are the little round ones that fall to the ground, and they're really sweet, but if you eat them before that, they'll pucker your mouth inside out. Native American persimmon trees, tons of fruit, tons of fruit. Okay, they call them deer candy. But for some reason, as much as those attract deer, the Asian persimmons don't. I have 6 Asian persimmons, Fuyu, Gyro, Giant. I have the Tamalpan. Deer walk right past them. I have never seen not even a bite print in any of my Asian persimmons ever. Okay, if you can plant an Asian persimmon, here's a tip for you. They grow really slow. I got one behind me. This little guy right here is how all of my Asian persimmons started. They grow really, really slow. But give it year 2, year 3, it's like they got jet fuel in them. They just shoot up and go crazy. Next thing you know, you got more fruit, literally more fruit than you know what to do with. Your part-time job will be canning, preserving, freeze drying, and freezing all of the fruit you get. If you take what I'm saying and start your survival garden with these trees that I'm telling you right now, you'll be eating for the rest of your life. Your family will be eating for the rest of their lives when you're long gone. Trust and believe me, because I'm not talking crap. I'm literally living it, and everything I've named here today is the things that I'm growing personally. This is not a joke. I can't speak on anything that I don't know or I've never grown before. I'm only speaking on the things that I either have growing on my land right this very moment or have grown in the past. Everything pretty much on this list I'm growing right now. Okay? I'm growing pecans, almonds, walnuts, macadamia, apples, peaches, figs, mulberry, persimmons, apricot, jujubes, lemons, oranges, limes, grapefruits, blackberries, raspberries, mulberries, grapes, pears. I'm growing everything that I just mentioned, okay? I am growing it and I am eating it. So, with that being said, we're gonna do a part 2 of the survival in-ground garden, meaning what things should you be planting in your garden that's gonna take you and save your life. It's like, when I say survival, I mean, you plant this thing and it doesn't take a lot of work to keep it alive. It doesn't take it a lot of work to keep it going. It doesn't need to be pampered. It doesn't need to be baby. You know, I got a tropical garden here, and a lot of the things I have here need to be pampered in my area, like avocado. If you can grow avocado in your area, it's a must, because you get a lot of fruit from a small tree. If you can grow avocado, please grow avocado. If you can grow mango in your area, grow mango, because that is survival food. I'm only talking about the things that I have grown and been highly successful at. That's why I didn't name my avocados. I didn't name my mangoes. I didn't name my lychee trees. I didn't name any of that stuff that I've never actually fully produced on. Okay, so I hope this helps you start your survival garden. Now, what did I leave out? Put down in the comments section what you would put in your survival garden if the boot hit the poop. All right, Lair Farmer 73, I love all of y'all. Please stay safe out there. It's getting a little ugly. I love you, and I'm out. Peace.